Foxconn is the trading name for Honhai Precision Industry, a Taiwanese-owned multinational electronics contract manufacturing company. With a workforce of 1.2 million, it is the world's largest electronics manufacturer service and one of the world's largest employers, ranking 25th on the Fortune 2016 Global 500. As a global contract manufacturing company, Foxconn has established partnership with many European and US companies, such as Apple, Dell, Sony Corporation, and Toshiba Corporation. Foxconn's comparative advantage can be attributed to its business model of speed, quality, engineering services, flexibility, and monetary cost savings, offering multinational corporations quality products at competitive pricing through cheap labor. The company was caught in a controversial incident in 2010, a suicide cluster which gained worldwide attention from the media and general public. In less than 8 months, 18 young migrant workers, ranging in age from 17 to 25 years old, attempted suicide, leaping from the top of the company's building in protest of their poor working conditions. These incidents resulted in 14 deaths, and the remaining 4 sustained crippling injuries. NGO advocates, media reports, and academics have alleged that the suicides were triggered by the military management system of Foxconn. According to the universities across the Taiwan Strait Research Group on Foxconn, the management system is the primary reason for worker alienation, resulting in workers' collective trauma and making workers' suicide a choice of using life as an expression of silent resistance. Inevitably, the suicide factory case has tarnished Foxconn's reputation and business image by being a major communication crisis for Foxconn at a global scale. One of its clients, Apple, added pressure by requesting regular factory audits. After careful considerations, 45 Foxconn employees decided to resign from the company, while the remainder returned to work. To prevent similar events from happening again, Foxconn had several approaches to solve the issues. Firstly, Foxconn tried to solve the issue by undertaking a victim-blaming approach. A spokesman for Foxconn confirmed the protest and said that the incident was successfully and peacefully resolved after discussions between workers, local Foxconn officials, and representatives from the local government. A second solution was to install safety nets on the rooftops of its factories. Foxconn also hired counselors to help workers cope with stress, and it also moved 600 workers to new production lines for a change of atmosphere. 24-hour care centers, no suicide agreements, and psychological tests were set up to screen out potentially suicidal workers. The CEO of Foxconn, Terry Gao, promised to have robots working assembly lines to reduce working hours of current employees. A Shenzhen municipal government spokesperson announced that the government would improve laborers' living conditions and enterprise management so as to take the welfare of the employees more seriously. In the perspectives of the workers, they do not see themselves as united, since there would be prejudices and discriminations on a particular group of people from certain provinces. Also, workers viewed that the job scopes may or may not be reasonable from one another. According to a survey done by FLA, 48% of workers at Foxconn thought that the hours were reasonable, 34% wanted to work more hours, and 18% felt that the hours were too much. In the perspective of the management committee, the company required more manpower to work efficiently for long hours on a job with a repetitive task. According to Guo Tai-ming, CEO of Foxconn, the company was not a sweatshop, and admitted that it was not easy managing 800,000 employees. Foxconn adopted a military style of management, where authority and hierarchy were reinforced. Order and regulations were seen as the utmost importance in communication so as to gain obedience from the workers. There is a lack of communication and bonding between colleagues. Workers often find it hard to relate to each other as there were no interesting topics to talk about since all they did was work. As a result, there was no one to share their frustrations and problems with, and they were suppressed emotionally. A contribution to the problem could be the way the management cultures view their workers. This interlinks with the power distance in companies. In Asian companies, most workers are viewed as collectives or groups. This creates a space where workers are more unwilling to voice out their concerns in fear of creating an unwelcome outburst. This also has to do with the Ting Tumi's face theory, where the workers' act of voicing out could be viewed as a negative phase, threatening the authority and power of the management. Due to how difficult it would be to manage a large group of people and attempting to know them at an individual level, the management has the propensity to rely on cultural stereotypes. With Foxconn managing up to 800,000 employees at one time, this proves to be a crucial task. However, the drawback of this would be that the people would then be viewed as a whole, a group with similar defining characteristics or ways of thinking. This could prove disastrous if left unchecked. Dissent could build up and not be expressed until it's too late, thereby potentially leading to a repeat of the suicide case at Foxconn. According to Hofstede's cultural dimensions, Foxconn has a high power distance culture. This can be seen by the subordinates who are treated differently from their more superior leaders. They might even view it as appropriate. It's seen by how the workers who are not able to confront the high-ups one-to-one but have to do it through extreme means. Even if they were to approach the issue as a group, they will rely on using such measures as opposed to speaking directly in a group. This could also be attributed to the difference in worldviews. Foxconn management is in a position of high authority, whereas the employees are subordinated to the management. Everyone's worldviews determine the decisions and actions we make. It is a mental framework that individuals or groups utilize as a toolkit to understand every aspect of their surroundings, and this also includes what the management perceives as important for the company in comparison to what the employees perceive as important to the company or themselves. Seeing as how the Foxconn suicide cases was due to poor working conditions, it can be suspected that the management placed an emphasis on the productivity of the workers over their well-being. Additionally, the employees probably prioritized their well-being over their wages, since most resigned. The Suicide Factory case has since revealed the inner workings of Foxconn and provided visibility to the predicament of workers in Foxconn, and more alarmingly, the possibilities of other global MNCs holding such practices. Although Foxconn sought to resolve the incident immediately, it has highlighted that change is sorely needed. The suggestions we could provide for Foxconn would be to focus on safeguarding the health of their workers, firstly by increasing their salaries. The increase in salary would mean workers are able to make ends meet without having to put in overtime or extra hours, and this will help ensure more time is used for their rest or leisure. Well-rested employees will also ensure better productivity. At the same time, Foxconn could instigate measures that ensure their workers are trained or assisted in improving the hourly productivity rate. For example, a recent social media update showed a company using the help of automation to sort out parcels. Through using such technology, the workers are assisted with their work. Another way to safeguard the workers' health would be to introduce a reward system. To ensure that extreme overwork does not occur, a reward system that could be implemented is to reward a certain range of hours that are worked, but to revoke the incentive should the workers work over a certain number of hours. This could be a double-edged sword. As much as it would allow the number of overwork time to decrease, it will also be encouraging workers, especially for those who have no reason to work overtime, to work more. An introduction of other incentives could be recommended too, such as paid benefits with annual leaves, medical leaves, corporate bonuses, and certain perks, such as a discount when purchasing certain products or services from the company. Although it will decrease the amount of days that the workers will work, it would help to improve morale and create a sense of belonging to the company, which would benefit the company in the long run when employees are better both mentally and financially. Better facilities such as gyms, libraries, and leisure spaces could be provided to the workers too. It would promote a space for the employees to pursue other goals at their leisure or to provide mental stimulation with new reading materials. Common rooms with leisure equipment such as foosball tables could be built to encourage interaction amongst workers, since most workers reside in dormitories on site. The design of the space would contribute to the way people interact, and to carefully plan it out, it would be a subtle way for Foxconn to encourage their workers to pursue another interest at no cost outside of work instead of staying idle. Additionally, it could also serve to be advantageous for the company, as the workers would know that the company has their best interests at heart. In addition, team building activities could also be introduced to help the workers learn more about each other. One of the observations of Foxconn's management style was that there was no interaction amongst workers. All movements were conducted military style. Introducing team building exercises would then create the first connections of interaction between the workers and the teams they work in. Monthly outings could be planned for the workers too, where different groups get to go on different months. It could also be mandatory for workers to visit the counselors every month or two. While the workers could have passed the mental test at the beginning, changing circumstances ensure that no person remains the same throughout. To have a constant update on their workers would mean that workers' health are monitored and more counselors could be hired, thus increasing the number of jobs too. Lastly, we recommend that the company be receptive in feedback about their current initiatives or any further changes. While workers might not feel comfortable sharing one-to-one, Foxconn could implement a non-faceless method, be it through the old way of having a suggestion box or an online platform for workers to connect and feedback. To summarize, through initiatives such as learning to listen to the workers and creating an environment where the implicit message is that the workers are family and everyone's welfare is considered, it will create a better environment in the long term.